Today, we are going to be talking about selling knowledge versus physical product. And I am really, really excited. I have a lot of things to say, but first, I want to define what do I mean by knowledge because that is a little bit vague and mysterious. When it comes to physical product, yeah, that makes sense. But what do I mean by knowledge? So let's define that first. Um, for physical products, I'm talking about stuff like finished handmade products. These can be like custom orders, ready made items, and things like that. You go through the process from start to finish. You make it, you're spending a whole bunch of time to then create a final product that then you sell. So, that is what I mean by a physical product in this sense. It is just a finished handmade product. It's something that you have done start to finish, and then you sell that finished product. But when I'm talking about knowledge, I'm talking about patterns, tutorials, memberships and subscriptions, classes, and even kits, which kind of like toe the line between physical product and knowledge. So it's on the knowledge side just because like it fits in that category better, but it still is a bit of a physical product. So there are some similarities between like a finished handmade product and kits, but you just don't invest all the time into making it. But these are basically like all of the biggest opportunities with selling knowledge. And when we're talking about knowledge, I'm talking about specifically like handmade. Let me roll myself back here. I'm specifically talking about the knowledge that you have behind your craft, behind your art, behind the thing that you do. And obviously, that can be a variety of different things. We have a lot of people who make a bunch of different products here, but it can be, the knowledge of wire wrapping, it can be the knowledge of macrame, needle felting, all kinds of things like that. And basically, selling your knowledge, your experience, and your skills to people versus the finished handmade product that you create by the end. And the biggest ways that you can do that is through, patterns and tutorials, memberships and subscriptions, classes, and even kits. But that one I recommend, like, if people are wanting to go in this direction, to be like lower on the list because, like, you should really be starting off like patterns and tutorials. And this is super cool because this type of business has a lot of potential and opportunities. Because when you go from a handmade product to a like knowledge information based product, it opens a lot of doors. And for this kind of whole workshop and stuff that I'm going to be talking about here, I want to specifically talk about the opportunity of like selling patterns and tutorials. Because there's a lot of people who want to do things like kits and who want to do things like classes. But I very strongly believe that if people want to start selling their knowledge of their craft, of their art, they should start off with patterns and tutorials because it's one of the easiest things that you can start off with. And then it also opens up all of the other options. When you have a strong foundation of a pattern or a tutorial business, then when you start offering classes or kits or subscriptions or anything like that, it kind of fits in automatically and you're mostly growing off of the business versus like starting a whole new part of a business. So that is kind of like the foundation of what we're going to be talking about. It's going to be about patterns and tutorials. So let's go over some of the opportunities when it comes to patterns and tutorials that I have seen based off of like my research and things that I have personally heard from other people. So the first one is the fact that when you switch from a physical finished product, like business and go to a pattern and tutorial business, it is very, very scalable because when you are selling physical products, you make a product once and then you can only sell that product once. Now, I'm not saying that like you create a design of a product and someone can't order it again. Sure, they can order again, but you have to start the whole making process over from scratch. Even if you have a good system of how you make your products and all of that, you still have to make each item from hand. You have to spend the time from start to finish on every single product that you are selling. Versus a pattern or tutorial business, you make that pattern or tutorial once and you can literally sell it thousands of times without any extra work on your end. You're not having to re-record the tutorial that you made. You're not having to remake the pattern that you made. And usually if you have to do any of that, it's optional. It's not required. Like with a physical product where you have to again start from the beginning and make it over and over again, which there's nothing wrong with that. I had my own physical business and I loved going through the whole process of making every single set. I loved going through the sanding process, the pouring process, the polishing process, the inking process. I thought it was awesome. But there is something to be said that, you know, the business model of patterns and tutorials is incredibly scalable. It has so much opportunity there because, again, you only have to make it once. And then you can just keep selling it and selling it and selling it and selling it. You lessen your chances of burning out when you have your business blow up or when you have a lot of orders because again, you don't have to make it from scratch every single time. You just already have it and it can be bought without any extra work on your end, which I think is absolutely amazing. I think it's absolutely awesome. And when I was doing my handmade business before, I really wanted to go in this direction of selling tutorials. Specifically, I wanted to do like a Patreon where people like got access to tutorials there because that's the only model that I saw modeled for me. Um, and I just thought it was so cool that like, oh, I could just make a tutorial and then like, all of the people who are messaging me asking me how I do this, they could just pay me over there and they learn and I don't have to go through the effort of telling them each time. Or, I don't actually have a video, maybe I could do something in the future. It's already over there. I made it and I have a foundation of this business where I'm teaching my craft. And I thought that would be awesome. I never ended up actually doing it, but I thought it would be really cool. Um, but the next thing is that it's actually like a really big business opportunity. I know a lot of people look at patterns and tutorials and things like that, and they see it as passive income. Oh, yeah, I crochet, but I also make patterns of my crochet, and, I have it up on my Etsy or my website. And when people are hanging out, and they check my website and they see a pattern, oh, maybe they'll buy it. And that's a little bit of extra money because I'm not putting in any extra effort to make that product. It's just a little bit of extra passive income. Um, yeah, it can be. And that's how a lot of people treat patterns and tutorials, but it can be a huge business in itself. There are people, for example, we had someone who was in this group a while ago who my mom worked with more personally, and she had I think it was a mosaic crochet pattern business, and she was making between like $5,000 to $8,000 a month in this business. And it wasn't just patterns and tutorials. She also built up a whole membership side of it. So there is that, but it was off of the core of patterns and tutorials. And that membership was only able to be created because of her patterns and tutorials. It is an extremely big opportunity because there are tons of people out there looking for how to actually make something. They're looking how to make something. They're looking to be taught how to do something. They're looking for the information and they just need to find the right place to find it. And I know a lot of people will even skip over free stuff because they don't trust it. They don't trust it over someone who is actually charging or who has a big reputation of doing this thing. Which is where, it can be this huge opportunity. Because like if you focus in and if you focus in on creating a pattern or tutorial business, yes, it will be huge in just the patterns and tutorials, but then you have all of these different avenues that you can go down and become basically this like expert in the field. When you are the one who is known for X craft. So for example, if you are the one known for mosaic crochet and Everyone is looking to you to see your designs. They love what you are making, all of that. When they are looking to buy a pattern or find a pattern for mosaic crochet, they're going to you because you are the known person, you are the expert. And not only that, but oh, I can buy patterns from this person, but actually, I want to get more patterns from this person. So I can join a monthly membership. I can also join classes. I can join design challenges. I can join crochet challenges. Like there's all of these other things that you can build on top of it where it's not just it's not just a passive income business. It can be. It can be. But for the people who are looking for something more, who really want patterns and tutorials and teaching their craft to be the thing that they do, it is a huge opportunity. I don't want you to dismiss it just because it's something that is seen as passive income, because it's not just passive income. It is a huge opportunity of things that you can do and a real big business that you can build off of it. And it's absolutely amazing. It's truly amazing. Like I can't believe that more people aren't doing this. But the thing is it's not for everyone. Not everyone is wanting to focus in on, making patterns, making tutorials for people. Some people just want to make the product themselves, but other people and people who would be fit for this type of business want to teach others. They want to be the expert. They want to create a community of crafters and artists who love the same thing that they do and that they get to teach them. And I know for me, when again, I was making dice before, it was a direction I wanted to go into. I got stuck on how to do it. But I always thought it would be awesome because I really liked that side. I liked walking people through how I did different techniques. I loved walking people through how I made molds. I loved recording little videos and like of how I did those certain techniques and processes and having people ask questions about it. I thought that was so much fun. And it wasn't until I joined HSC where I really found that, oh, like teaching is something I really, really like. And, you know, it would have been an awesome opportunity to have done before because, like, I connected with teaching and I love sharing knowledge with people and connecting with people in that way. And so if that's something that, if that's something that other people, especially who are already, who already have a handmade business love, this is a real direction that you can go into, which I think is amazing. And the last thing that I have on this list here is selling to crafters. Now, there is a huge, huge audience of people who love to craft and love hobbies and love picking up things that, don't want to take it seriously. They don't want to, start a business, but they just want something fun to do. They want to make things for themselves. They want to make things for other people. They want to make things just because it's cool and fun and because they can. And when you sell patterns and tutorials, you are opening up that entire audience of people. It's not just someone who wants to, buy the finished product because they love it and they want it in their house or anything, but it's someone who is obsessed with creating and they want to create and they are looking at you and they are looking at other people to basically like source that creating from. They want to see awesome patterns that they want to make themselves. They want to see patterns. They want to see something and be like, I want to make that for my friend because they love this. Um, and it's a huge, huge audience of people. And they are also like people who craft and are hobbyists and stuff are like some of the biggest collectors as well, which also makes it a really good business model. They love to collect things. I find that even for myself, I have like all of my hobby stuff back here, but I have received, I like to sew. If you guys don't know, I really like to sew, and I have received so many um stashes of sewing supplies from people from people or also even like their parents or someone that they knew where they're just like, I don't know what to do with this. But, I have probably like 1,000 zippers in a drawer because I just got them from people who love to collect them. Um, Collecting the different fabrics, the different I know that they're called something more specific, but like kind of the accessories and buttons and zippers and all of those types of things that people add on to clothes. I have so many of those things, and that is because like crafters and people, especially hobbyists, love to collect. They love to find all of the things that they want to make. They love to find the perfect fabrics, the perfect patterns, the perfect tutorials, all of the perfect things that like make their brain excited and happy. And so you basically open yourself up to this audience of people. And I think that's also really cool because again, not only is it, they love collecting and they also love these types of things. But also they're looking for community. And you can create a community centered around your craft and your art. Um, with other people who share that same interest and passion in it, which is again something I absolutely love. When you can create a community around people who also love and are obsessed with the same thing you are, it is like the best feeling ever. It is the best feeling ever. And yes, they are called notions. Thank you. I was like, I know that there's a name for it. Why can't I think of it? Um, I don't know all of the technical terms with sewing. I am like the most vibe sewing person ever. Um, I have followed patterns in the past. Um, and mostly I don't follow a ton of patterns because I have very specific things I want to do that I can never find patterns for. Or at least I couldn't back in the day. Now that like the internet has grown more, maybe I can now, but I have very specific things I do. I do everything based off of vibes. And my pattern process is making something and just adjusting it and then finally making the thing that I actually wanted to make. I think it's a lot of fun. I have a cool project that I'm working on right now that I should show you guys at some point. um, but it's super cool. But these are like some of the big opportunities for selling patterns and tutorials. And this is only like some of them, and only from a more like conceptual, like business model standpoint as well. Because again, there's so many things that you can do in this space. Um, and I had a difficult time putting together this workshop because there are just so many things that you can do and so many ideas and so many directions. And, I'm still in also the phase of like, I am brainstorming ideas. Like I've been doing a ton of research. I've been talking to people about this and, I'm just in idea mode. So this was me like trying to actually get everything down on paper and that takes some mental energy to get there. Which is always exciting. Um, but it just makes me so excited. This business model makes me so extremely excited. I think there's just so many opportunities. There's just so many things to do. Hell, I'm excited. But I kind of want to talk about, we talked about it as a conceptual business model and all of that, but I also want to talk about some of the ways that I have found to market patterns. And there's a lot more than what I'm even going to be talking about right now. I narrowed it down to 3 to make it easy. But there's so many different things that we can talk about. But I thought it would be fun to just talk about, making pattern sales. And I use pattern also often versus saying pattern and tutorial. And just so people know, like when I say pattern, I'm inherently also talking about tutorials. It's just easier to say one word versus patterns and tutorials. So just so you guys know, I'm talking about like the same things because they work very, very similar. They're just 2 different formats usually that you're delivering the information. One is a more like written, laid out format, and the other one is video format. So it's essentially the same thing. They're just delivered differently. But I just want to talk about some cool ways to sell patterns and make more pattern sales and all of that because that's fun. So, to start this off, everyone here should be familiar because you follow this system and you should know what the quick cash method is. There are a few overlaps that selling patterns has with handmade products. It just obviously, again, opens up different opportunities. So, the first one is literally posting in crafting groups on Facebook. When we are talking about handmade products, we will sometimes talk about craft groups as a potential option, but they don't tend to be the best option for handmade products because those are groups of people who want to do it themselves versus people who want to buy the finished product. So crafting and like those big crafting groups are usually not really that great for your finished product. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't post in them ever because there can be opportunities there. They just tend to be again they just tend to be filled with less people who want to buy a finished product. But when you are selling patterns and tutorials, you are literally talking to the exact people who will buy those things. So, for example, if you are a crocheter and you sell crocheted patterns or crochet patterns, if you post in a crochet group showing off a pattern that you made, not even the pattern that you made, but the actual item that you can make from that pattern, showing it off, talking about how cool it is, how proud you are, or anything like that, people will ask for the pattern because this is a group of people who want the patterns, they want the tutorials, they want to make that thing. And so they're asking, hey, where can I make it? And I'm sure that there are people who are here who have posted in groups who have experienced maybe even some frustration around people asking, I want to make this. How can I make this? Where do you get this thing? Where did you get this pattern? Do you have a tutorial? And like just a lot of those types of questions. Hey, I want to make this. Give me the resource to make it. And when you don't sell patterns and tutorials, those comments can feel very frustrating because obviously you want them to show interest in the final product, but they're asking about how to make it instead. But if you are getting that a lot as a like handmade creator, I would first off seriously consider selling patterns and tutorials because that is telling you that there is a huge market of people that want to make that, which means that there's a huge market of people who want to buy a pattern of it or a tutorial of it. And that means that that's a good foundation of a business. And I think that's also really cool. Um, so like posting and crafting groups is going to be like a huge thing. And it's going to be similar to like what we do with the quick cash method, post engaging content versus salesy content, things like that. But there's even groups that are geared towards patterns and tutorials. The only thing I would be careful with there is that there are free groups, like free pattern and tutorial groups. I wouldn't necessarily post in those unless you have a free pattern or tutorial that you want to post there, because obviously people have expectations that it won't cost any money, versus if you post something there that costs money, there's there may be issues. But that's like one of the first things, and I wanted to share this one first too because like I know that you guys know the quick cash method. This is like kind of a way to translate it over that like you can do it with patterns and tutorials, and that's amazing. And I see those posts all the time where people are showing off something cool that they made and people are demanding for a tutorial or a pattern of it. So it's a huge, huge opportunity to market your patterns. The next one is SEO, aka search engine optimization. So for people who are not familiar with what SEO is it is all about optimizing your web pages so that you show up in search results. So when people are searching on Google for a, Santa hat pattern or a crocheted Santa hat pattern, there is a way to basically optimize your listing, your website. There's a few different things that you can do to basically make it so that you are one of the top results that show up when someone searches that. And it is quite a big it's quite a big topic, and I don't want to make it too convoluted for this discussion, but when you can learn SEO and when you have your patterns up on Etsy or Ravelry or your website, you can you can optimize all of those listings and all of those sources so that when people search up very specific things, looking for a crocheted Santa hat pattern, you will be one of the first ones to pop up. And again, I'm not going to get super deep on SEO because it is such a large topic, but especially in the age of AI as well, this is also important because there are a lot of people who use AI as Google. And AI also has its own search engine optimization. It also has its own form of SEO. And I have even seen before, we've had our own videos pop up under like AI overviews for this is a trusted source because it had all of the things in it that optimized it to pop up. And when you can get really good at SEO, you can dominate in the pattern market because you will show up for everything. You make sure you have the correct words in your descriptions, in your names. You make sure that you are showing up in all of the correct ways so that you show up at the top. You are the trusted source because you are one of the first ones to pop up. And that is especially important when it comes to patterns and tutorials because people aren't usually going down a really long rabbit hole on which one is the one they should do. They're usually looking for the one that pops up first or one of the ones that pops up first because they don't have time to just scroll on multiple pages to find the perfect hat. They want to find the one that is the closest to what they want, that fits what they're looking for. And that's really it. So you need to make sure that you are popping up at the top. And SEO works for Google along with like AI engines. So like, I was gonna say Google's AI, Gemini, ChatGPT, stuff like that. You can make it pop up for all of those. And also, there's even SEO when it comes to YouTube, which is really fun as well. And that is where, another opportunity lies is, not only using Facebook for selling patterns and tutorials, but YouTube is a whole nother platform that is like perfect for selling like your knowledge and your skills of your craft and such because so many crafters look on YouTube for tutorials and then also for patterns and all of those things. And so YouTube is a great place to be. And there's even SEO when it comes to YouTube specifically. So learning SEO and how to show up at the top is incredibly important to stand out compared to everyone else around you. Especially because, yeah, there are a lot of patterns out there, but you're going to make better patterns than most mass produced pattern companies. You're going to make more interesting patterns than what free patterns are. And then you just make sure that you stand out. You just make sure that you have your marketing down and you will show up and you will sell your patterns, which is awesome. SEO is a huge opportunity. I'm really excited to learn more about it. I've done it before, but it's been a couple years. It's been a few years. It's been maybe quite a few years. So I'm excited to learn more about it because it is such a huge game changer. And the next thing is designing around trends. So this one is pretty cool because, again, we're talking about standing out. We're talking about getting in front of the right people. But when you make the right item based off of what is trending, that pattern or tutorial can go viral. It can go crazy. So, for example, during COVID, there was a really popular trend around strawberry cows. People were making strawberry cow dresses and people were making things pink and white for like representing strawberry cows. There was a whole song about it. Even people like making a like strawberry milk drink would use that sound and would go viral because it's the strawberry cow. And there were even then people who made, final finished handmade products that went absolutely viral and crazy that people sold a ton of, but also people who would make patterns around that. And things that followed the strawberry cow trend sold like crazy. And especially when you can be a pattern designer or, a tutorial maker and such, and show people how to make something that follows a trend, other people can take advantage of that trend. So all of those people who were selling like finished handmade products were looking for patterns and tutorials of what to make to then follow that product or follow that trend. And so it's basically a great way to jump on those trends, take advantage of those trends, and sell more patterns because of it, sell more tutorials, stand out because you are doing what's popular and you're doing the thing that everyone's excited about. And though that's obviously popular and exciting, that's why they're trends. Um, there was even like last year, I don't know if anyone remembers, there was like that little anglerfish that died. It was like found in the ocean and it was like tiny. It was like this whole thing. Um, and anglerfish were super popular for like a month straight. Everyone was making anglerfish things, or at least from what I saw, everyone was making anglerfish things. Stained glass, like embroidery patterns, even making like there's the stained glass, there's the embroidery patterns, even making art of anglerfish and even pottery and ceramic stuff too, which was really cool. Like everyone was making things with anglerfish. It was crazy. And I know for sure they sold like crazy because I saw the comments of people asking. Um, and when you can, instead of being, a finished product creator in that platform, but instead be a pattern designer that can sell those patterns to people who are following those trends, it's a huge opportunity. Um, and not even it's not even just like trends such as, strawberry cow or the anglerfish, but it's even trends around the craft itself. What is popular in your craft? What are people getting really into? So, for example, needle felting, let's say not surrealism, realism is what I wanted to say. Let's say realism is super popular in needle felting, and that's a big trend. Well, then maybe it's worth jumping on that trend and at least making a tutorial or two around realism. Let's say bugs are really popular in needle felting. Okay, let's do some bugs then. Let's say there are certain stitches that are really popular when it comes to crochet or knitting. Jump on those trends, make patterns based off of those stitches. Um, and even when it comes to, I don't know, there's so many things, but like, designing around the trends is a huge opportunity because, again, you're getting in front of everyone because that is the thing that is popular right now. Everyone's going crazy for it. So jump on that same bandwagon and take advantage of it. Like show up in front of people and sell your patterns because of it. And even if it's just one pattern, it then also opens them up to everything else that you do as a creator. And so it, doesn't have to be like every single thing that you do is a trend, but jumping on the trends lets you market better and take advantage of those trends versus just letting them happen. So is huge. um but yeah. I see that there's a couple of comments here. I'm going to respond to some of them, and then I want to show you guys what I've been working on and like why I'm excited about all of this. So we'll get into that in a moment because I just noticed some comments and I wanted to um, respond to them. Joji Juice says, so interesting. I can take 2 or 3 patterns and adjust and create something different. My sister, however, takes the one pattern, adjusts it, and creates something off of one pattern. Yeah, there's a lot of people who take the patterns and adjust them and stuff. But again, it's based off of base patterns. And I know even in the pattern world itself is even like smaller modifications to patterns will make them different patterns because you are changing elements of them. I always feel like though that there should be enough of an enough of a modification that it is a different pattern. There's something that does make it different and unique. But yeah, there's tons of people who do a lot of adjustments. And there's a lot of people who, again, feel like, oh, there's patterns. I have like one, then I can do anything I want off of it. And there's other people that need and want that pattern for something very specific because they don't know how to adjust patterns. They don't know how to make it different and make the thing that they actually want. Joji Ju says our patterns are really just very basic. It's not really about the pattern for us, but fabric combinations, placement of fabric, trims, etc. Yeah, of course. And that's the thing too, is like there are a lot of patterns that aren't really super complicated, and it's actually better to do more beginner and intermediate patterns as a designer because that's going to be like the biggest group of people. Um, but people don't know how to make an apron, and they're looking for that guide. They're looking for that resource that tells them exactly how they can do it without any extra work. Um, and it's really cool. And then the cool thing about, as a the cool thing with like using fun fabrics and stuff like that as well is like it just makes it stand out and it makes it extra cool. And I do really like the fabric combinations that you do, Joji do. I think it's really awesome. But there are people who let me just tell you about this thing, and it kind of leads into like my sewing stuff. But there is this person that I've seen who sells these wrap shirts. They're basically just a huge rectangle with a hole in the middle and like strips of fabric on the end so that you like wrap them around yourself. And it's a shirt, and it is one of the most basic patterns that I feel like I've ever seen. And I see on this person's content all the time of people demanding for this person to make a pattern. Where can I get this pattern? Can you please make a pattern? All of that. This person doesn't want to make a pattern, which I think is a huge loss of an opportunity because like there are people literally like banging down your door, give me a pattern. But it's like one of the most simple patterns that I've ever seen, and people are still asking for one. I've literally made two of these, technically three, but I've made two of these shirts, like exactly the same layout and pattern without having one because it was really straightforward. But there's a lot of people who don't know what to do. There's a lot of people who just feel clueless, or even if they don't feel clueless, just don't want to put in the extra time and effort to figure out a pattern or those adjustments that need to be made. And it's kind of interesting because like for me as a person, like I tend to again be very off the cuff. I will figure it out as I go, as I do it. But there's a lot of people that just want the instructions. They just want to know how to do it off the bat. Um, and those are the types of people that are buying the patterns and tutorials. Um, Susan Chase says, I followed. Susan Chase says, I follow Google Trends. I get an email every week with what people are searching for each week. It's interesting, especially around the holidays, to see what people are looking to buy. Yeah, Google Trends is a huge resource. And there are a lot of other resources too that you should be keeping an eye out when it comes to trends as well. Like Google Trends will do a good job. But even just being present on social media is huge to see what's trending. Like I get most of my trends based off of what is trending on social media, which is the ones I listen to especially the most because social media is the most influential place on the internet right now. TikTok, Facebook, all of that. Don says I definitely need help with SEO. Yeah, SEO is a big one to tackle. Joji Ju says we look at all the current home decor and clothing colors and styles. It has increased our sales following these trends. Yes. I mean, handmade sellers should be following trends as well. Like pretty much anyone who's like in a business needs to be following the trends because that's where people's interests are right now. Those are where people are looking. And so again, take advantage of those trends while they're happening. Hop on them. Make sure that you're making something as well, which again is why I very much advocate for people if they are having a handmade business to be active on social media so that they can see what is trending on social media. Because like I did that even with my dice. I would just follow what other people were doing. I would make my own variations. And even if those weren't the ones that made the most sales, they got a lot of eyes, which is huge. Um, Susan Chase says, if you're not utilizing Google Trends for SEO or designing, you should be. Absolutely. I agree. Joji Ju says, I wish I knew how to teach that. How to teach what? Adjusting patterns or what exactly? Um, just out of curiosity, because like I really feel like, teaching is a skill just like anything else. And I had no experience with teaching people before I started this job as like, a coach. And now I feel like, oh, I'm actually kind of good at this. Like I kind of know what I'm doing. That's pretty cool, but it's just taken doing it to get to this point. And that's, consistency and all of that because it's a skill. Um, and all of that cool stuff. So, why am I excited about this and why am I telling you this right now? Because I just want to give some context. Um, so, like I was mentioning earlier, I started, I started with my own handmade business. I made dice. And during that, I made the final product. And there was a time where I really wanted to teach people how to make dice, how to make molds, and how to do all of that. I thought it would be amazing. I didn't even see it as being as big of an opportunity as I do now. I just thought it would be really cool and it would help people who were following me and asking. But I never did. And that was because I didn't know where to start with this kind of business. Again, this was my first, me being a coach here was my first time like teaching and communicating things to people. I didn't know how to do that before. I didn't know how to record video. I didn't know how to write a tutorial or a pattern. Well, I wouldn't have written patterns for that, but I didn't know how to write a tutorial. I didn't know how to do all of these things. I didn't know how to market it. I didn't know anything. And that really made me stuck. And that is ultimately why I didn't go in that direction. And recently, I have interviewed some people and I've been talking to some people about pattern businesses and tutorial businesses because it's something that came up during a meeting with me and Allie of just like, hey, this is something kind of cool. And there's people that are doing it, and there's people who, want to do this but don't know where to go. And I felt like that really related to like how I felt like all of those years ago. And I'm like, let me do some research into this. So I interviewed people. I've been talking to people. I've been like stalking a whole bunch of like pattern creators online. I've been paying attention to, groups and comments and reels and all of that and seeing where people like seeing what people are saying and seeing what people are wanting. And it's all come down to this is a huge opportunity. This is a huge opportunity that a lot of people are interested in, but based off of the feedback that I have gotten from people, they don't take advantage of it because they don't know where to start. And again, I feel that on a deep level myself because that's where I was before. And I know how that feels to feel frustrated and clueless on where to even go. You don't know where to start, and not starting is the easier option there because, to start takes all of this thinking and all of this planning and all of this that you have to figure out. So, I've been working on something for a while now, and we are finally releasing it, and I'm really excited about it, but I'm calling it the Pattern Posse. Or at least that's like the name that is what it's named right now. And this is a whole thing that I have been working on to help people who want to sell patterns and tutorials, who want to go from a handmade business to a pattern and tutorial business, and they don't know what to do. And I am really excited about this because I have been like knee deep into researching and like thinking about this for at least 3 months now, and I've been doing this for even longer now. And I know how it feels to be stuck there, and I know how it feels to want to start that business and not know where to go. So I really wanted to create this as a opportunity for people to actually be able to try. Not just try, but like, actually do this. And so I guess like I think I may switch my screen here just to kind of show you what I've been like again up to. Um this is what I have right now. This isn't a real official program yet. This is just a beta program that I decided to release. That's going to be the 6-month beta coaching group thing. Um, and I am super excited about this because this group, again, it's going to be 6 months of just me focusing on helping people build a pattern and tutorial business. And first off, I'm so excited because I have been, again, talking to people and looking online and doing all this research. And this is going to be like the first opportunity to actually have my hands in this kind of business because I didn't have that before. And this is a way that I can do that with other people and helping other people, which I think is cooler than doing it for myself personally. Um, and this is going to be a really small group of people. There are only 12 slots of this, and I think there's only 7 left right now. So it's going to be a really small group of people, which I'm even more excited about because that means I get to work with you more personally. With these calls and stuff that I do in HSC, there's a lot of people here. I, try and have a lot of variety of who I cover, what I talk about. I try and respond to everyone. But, because there is so much, um, you're not getting me as much as I can give because like you're not able to get me as much as I can give in something smaller because there are so many people. There are these bigger group calls and stuff like that. But these are going to be like Zoom calls. Everyone's going to be on them. They're going to be able to talk to me and I'm going to be able to see their faces and I'm going to ask them to show me things. And I'm going to be asking them questions. I'm so excited. And like I get to actually work with pattern designers here and have more of this like one-on-one um like coaching that I get to do, which I am just like endlessly excited about. And the whole idea behind this beta group is ultimately I would like to do something bigger for pattern designers, but because I haven't started that business myself, and it's something that I wanted to do, I need some experience. I need some testing. And this whole beta group is basically a like lab, living organism of us just testing ideas and seeing what works and learning from that. Not only are you going to be learning like, strategies and ideas, but it's also going to be like me learning those as well and what actually works so that whenever I go to make, whatever the next version of this is, I have, you know, I have more experience in this area and I have more experience with helping designers in this area, which I think is really, really cool. Um, and I'll kind of go over a little bit of like what this is and like what we're doing here. So again, it's a 6-month program. And in the first month, we are going to be going over like Facebook strategy for pattern designers, which I kind of covered a little bit earlier with like the crafting groups, but what we teach here in HSC is built for handmade sellers. And there is a little bit of overlap of things that work with handmade sellers and pattern designers, but there is it's also a completely different ball game. Like you are trying to do different things on social media as a pattern designer versus a handmade seller. So we're going to be going over the Facebook strategy for pattern designers, which goes over, the actual like page itself, using groups, the content strategy, which I'm really excited to get into because when you have a like information product, you tend you won't have as many pictures as like when you have a physical product, and you have to get a little bit more creative with what you do and the type of content that you make. And also like just there's so much that you can do when it comes to like pattern content. I'm so excited. um but we'll cover the Facebook strategy as like the first month, and this is a great way to like, get warmed up and everything. The second month we'll be talking about launching patterns, which I am insanely excited about because my dice business was based off of a launch strategy, shop updates and stuff like that, and that strategy works fantastic for patterns, with creating excitement and desire and all of that before you even release it. And also like the strategy for after releasing as well, so that you make sure that, you don't just release it once and that's the only money that you make, but you're consistently selling that pattern afterwards. And I'm super excited as well because we are doing a like posting framework. And it may be better call it like a calendar. It's not like the PFP, but it's basically like a promotion calendar. Like these are the posts that you're making on certain days. These are what you're saying in them. This is how you lead up to then a big launch, which I wish I had when I was doing shop updates because that would have been so much easier. I like winged everything and it was kind of terrible because I would fall behind on things because I wasn't thinking about the posting. I was working on actually getting the things ready. But instead you can actually have a guide and a calendar of this is the post I make on this day so that you can literally promote your big launch. Which is super cool. I think that'll be really fun. I love launch strategies so much. I love them. The third month that we're going to be talking about is going to be designing patterns. And so this is again where we were talking about like designing around trends, but this is going to be talking about specifically like making wow patterns, designing wow patterns that catch people's eyes. It's going to be a lot about, doing the trend research. It's going to be a lot of following what's popular. It's also going to be a lot of like theory around design and what catches people's eyes as well. Because it's not just, the design itself following a trend, but there's also like intentional things that we can do with the design to make sure that it catches people's eyes, which I'm really excited about it as well because again, it's like it's a little bit more technical, which is fun. But yeah, that's cool. So the fourth month, we're going to be actually doing a little bit of a website boot camp. We're going to be building out a simple pattern website for people, or pattern store for people who don't have them already. If they already have a pattern store, we're going to be like, making sure we make it over and make it look nice. And then this is also where we're going to be talking about SEO, which I am very, very excited about because there are a lot of opportunities there. There's a lot of technical things there that I can't wait to dig into, and a lot of testing there as well. And it's also a really fun form of marketing. And in this as well, we're also going to be talking about gathering emails. We're not going to be talking about email marketing, but we're going to be talking about gathering emails, which I think will be super valuable. Even if you don't know how to do the marketing part yet, just having the emails and storing those, valuable, super valuable. The next one for month 5, we're going to be doing videos for selling patterns. So this is especially going to be focused on short form video. And these are going to be, again, reels and short form videos that actually like sell and promote the patterns themselves, which I have a ton of ideas, and I'm going to be playing around with how I want to teach, how I want to do like real frameworks, which will hopefully become a much bigger thing of teaching people how to do handmade seller reels. I want to do like a big workshop. I want to do like a big thing for that, but this is where I'm going to be testing the ideas to hopefully do it on a much larger scale later. And then the last month, aka month 6, we're going to be talking about pattern testers and using pattern testers for your marketing, which I'm really excited about. I'm really, really excited about. Using pattern testers is something that a lot of pattern designers do, but I have seen a huge missed opportunity knowing how like I've just seen a huge missed opportunity. I don't want to get into it too much here, because again, like this is a whole thing that I'm going to be doing, and I don't want to just like give everything that I'm doing right now. Plus, there's also still some developing that I'm doing around these ideas, but like basically using pattern testers for your marketing, so that not only do you have your marketing efforts that you are doing, but you are also having other people going out and basically promoting and marketing your patterns for you, which is amazing, amazing. It's just amazing. There's so many things that you can do in this business, and this is really just like the tip of the iceberg. I have already had like 5 million more ideas, but I need to keep them contained for now because this is what the focus is, and I can't get too much deeper into it right now because then it's going to make my brain like fried. So, this is how we're going to be doing. But I'm so excited. This kind of goes into like the whole business model thing, which we talked about. I'm excited because so this is going to be like they're going to be bi-weekly calls. So there's going to be 2 of these live Zoom calls a month. And again, they're going to be like the smaller group up to like 12 people maximum, on a Zoom call with me. And these are not going to be like how we do our normal lives in this group, but they're actually going to be like us sitting down, implementing things, me asking questions, really diving in and getting deep into stuff. Again, more one-on-one hands-on coaching than what we do in here. But that's going to be really exciting. We're going to be like creating action plans. Of course, you can ask questions. In between calls, we're going to have a group. We have a separate Facebook group that we're going to be doing where we're going to have like weekly check-ins. Of course, you can answer questions or ask questions, not answer questions. Get feedback, and also like we will tackle like implementation challenges. And I also want to do like a design challenge as well in it. I'll see like where people are at with that, but I think that would be kind of cool. But yeah. And like the whole idea, especially around this group, like yes, we're building out like a pattern business, but also it's just the accountability of it. And it's the structure of having other people and support around you to figure out how to do this. Because again, I know how it feels to get stuck with creating this kind of business, not knowing where to start, and actually having the support and other people who are doing the same thing around you to help and help you get past those challenges is invaluable. Invaluable is absolutely valuable. I don't know if I used that right. It's absolutely valuable because they actually help you get there versus you trying to figure it out yourself. And doing it by yourself it's really not fun. It's really, really not fun. So, I wanted this to just be it as it says at the bottom, community support and also accountability, which is like super, super important. Especially with like any kind of business, just the accountability to actually get the things done. Especially people who are just starting as well. And I want to talk a little bit about like who this is for, which like this is fine, but like this whole program is really for people who want patterns to be their business, who want patterns and tutorials to be their business, and they want to grow a real scalable business. Not This isn't for people who just want to make some passive income on the side, because like you can do that pretty easily. Even not putting in much marketing around the patterns, you can still build up a decent passive income around patterns with a handmade business pretty easily, especially as long as you have like a Etsy or something up that people can go check out that has the patterns on there. You're pretty much good. But this is for people who really want to focus in on patterns and tutorials as the main. That is what they want to do. They want to teach people. They want to they want to be the expert in their field, and they want not only a pattern and tutorial business, but a business that can be more than that. They want to sell kits. They want to create a membership. They want to even host classes, which is another huge thing that is super exciting that I can't get into right now, but like, doing all of these other things around their craft. It's more than just like, the handmade business, but it's this huge, huge thing. So this is definitely for people who want that as their main business, and they have the drive and they have the motivation and they have the desire for this. And they also have the time. And I will say that as well. They have the time for this as well. Because especially for this program, specifically, like this is going to be 6 months. And in these 6 months, I want you to be taking action. I want you to be implementing the things that we are talking about. Um, and making sure that you have the time is going to be a good component of that as well. But yeah, and the ultimate goal for this program is by like the end of the 6 months, I want to get people to be making at least $1,000 in patterns a month. At least. And it really depends on where you're starting off, where people are starting off when they join. If you already have patterns and are selling them, you're going to be more ahead than people who aren't at that point yet. But that's the goal that I have for everyone that is joining. And it's literally my goal to get people there. And that is again where I'm talking about like, one-on-one coaching and more hands-on. Like I will be there to help you get there. And help you get to $1,000 a month, at least $1,000 a month in pattern sales, because like that's what I want for you. And I am prepared to to get you there, and I'm excited to get you there because like this is, I mean, this is just so exciting. This is just so exciting. There's so much to do. And I'm really excited to be working with people and testing out these ideas because there is so much opportunity. Um, and the beta, of course, is awesome. And again, it's going to be a lot of testing both on my end and your end. And the thing that I will say up front is that this beta only can have 12 people in it. There are only 7 slots left, and you guys are only one of the things that I'm gonna like doing this call is only one of the things that I'm gonna be doing to get people into it. I have a whole bunch of emails that I need to be sending out soon, and I know that slots will fill up. So if this is something that you are interested, I would recommend like jumping on it. Um, but yeah, it is only 12 people and all of that. And let's get to kind of the last bit. And this is where I'll also send a link for people to join. This is where it's, again, kind of more sales and such. But this will be happening from April 1st to September 30th. So the full 6 months of April through September is when we are going to be focusing in and locking in on making a pattern business for you. The bi-weekly live calls will be happening on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So this day, but later in the day. And I wanted to do a night call because I know that people tend to be more available either early in the morning or late at night. And because on Mondays I have workshops and stuff that pop up, I wanted to have it be a night call so that it's a little bit more accessible for people and all of that good stuff. And ultimately, this is a paid program. It's a paid program because I'm going to be putting in a lot of time and effort into helping the people who are joining. And because this is new, it's going to be a lot cheaper than whatever the final version of this is, especially if I recreate this same program in the future. It will be more than double what it costs now to be able to join. Which is why we're doing the whole beta group. And this is for 97, a one-time payment, or $97 a month for the 6 months for the actual payment of the program. So if you want to join, that is the cost to join. And I will put in a link in the not the description, in the comments very quickly. If people are interested and want to check it out. And want to actually build a real pattern and tutorial business. Like again, this is for people who want to build a real pattern and tutorial business. This is a investment on your end of, this is for people who are serious and want to invest in that side of their business. and want something big, they want something scalable, and they want something that can grow beyond them. Because really, the options for a large scalable handmade business is either you go to like producing, so like drop shipping or anything like that, having other people make the product. You go to growing a large team of people. That's another option. And, you start to have staff and all of that. Or you go in this direction where you teach people. You teach them the knowledge and the information and the skills that you have grown. And in my opinion, that is the most fun out of all of them. It's the one that you have the least likelihood of burning out on. It's one that's also more sustainable than the others, and also you still get to have full creative control. And I just think it's really amazing, the opportunity there. And I know I keep saying that, but like truly, I believe it is amazing because like you you get to be the expert. You get to be the person, and you don't even have to be the expert before you become one, if that makes sense. You don't have to be the expert before you even start. Just being a couple steps ahead of where people are makes you the expert. Being a couple steps ahead and knowing how to adjust patterns is further along than what people who are just starting are at. So, I don't know. It's amazing. It's a huge opportunity. And if this is the type of business that you want to start, this is the investment that you have to make to be able to join this group and be a part of this beta program with me and a bunch of other people who I am so, so thankful and excited to be working with. I am beyond excited to be working with everyone who has joined so far. Um, I I really can't, like, it just makes me smile and it makes me so happy. I can't contain myself. Um, I love it. Da, da. Joji Ju, earlier, actually, here, let me switch my tab very quickly to this of questions that people have. I know that there have been some questions that have been rolling in. I'm going to start answering those now. So Joji Ju says, how to teach people about color combinations and placing fabric on a pattern, the highlight a particular design. That is actually like a really big thing, and I know people are really into that. I have not seen people who do actually teach that. Um, but the people who are really good at like placing their patterns correctly and being able to like make it flow seamlessly or like match up the patterns, I think are so, so impressive. And that is actually like a thing that you could teach people. Because I know that there are a lot of people who are interested in that, especially like cosplayers, or at least that's where I've seen a lot of people interested in it. Um, where people get really interested in like matching up the patterns. I know that there is a cosplayer that I know who I think have actually started selling like patterns and their like knowledge of how to do fabric placement through a Patreon, I believe, because a lot of people just thought it was super impressive what they were doing with matching their patterns, which like I get it. I do not have the time. Again, I am a vibe sewer. I have an idea and I want to make it happen. And the details, while I care about them more now than I did before, I struggle with. I just want to make cool things, and I want to make cool things, and I want to be able to test and make it quickly. Um, but yeah. Jamie says this could really be an amazing opportunity. Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited about this, both for like myself, because again, I'm excited to be working with people and like actually be helping them making pattern business, but also for people who want to do this. Um, Amazing. Joji Ju says, I should rephrase to where to teach online. I've shown how to place fabric in a group of kids. She won first place in the contest she entered. That's awesome. Yeah, for teaching it online, it's about like making it your focus, like really. There are a lot of people that teach their craft and art and stuff online, and really what it comes down to is they present themselves as, again, that expert. They create content around it. They show examples, they record videos, they create patterns, they create tutorials, they do like all of those things to then teach it online. So it's kind of like that thing where you have to start doing it before you know how to do it. And before you are like officially doing it, because that's how you do it. I know I just like said like do it like a million times, but I think that made sense. Like you kind of have to start before you really start, which is where it can feel really frustrating on where you actually begin, because you again just have to start somewhere. Don Seaver says, I'm so excited for this. I am as well, Don. I'm so excited that you joined. I'm so excited. Um, I'm like thrilled. Jamie says, I can feel your excitement. I love it, Willow. Yeah, I'm a bit excitable at the moment. Again, this has been a passion project for me for the last like again 6 months or so. Um, I follow so many pattern designers now. I get so much pattern content on my feed, especially with like crochet. Like I get a lot of crochet, I get quite a bit of needle felting, and I also get some sewing as well because I tend to engage in sewing content. Um, I don't even crochet or needle felt, but I just find it so fascinating to like watch what they're doing and to get ideas. It's amazing. It's so much fun. Um, so Cindy says, how do patterns and kits fit into your plan? Also, how many patterns are you thinking our businesses should produce and market? So, where the patterns and kits fit into the plan. So, this is ideally for people who are already familiar with making a pattern. However, I am open during this time to help people make patterns and tutorials for the first time. And that's even part of where I would like to learn, is by helping other people make that. So I'm even looking at in especially like the first couple months, um, even up to like the first 3 months, I want to be helping people make patterns if they don't already have them yet. I want to help people make digital patterns, help them record tutorials, whatever their direction may be, to then be able to follow the strategies here. And I will say that if you do not have any yet, before starting, then that will be like the first thing that I'm having you work on and that I'm going to be helping you with, because you need to have patterns and tutorials to then be able to sell the patterns and tutorials. When it comes to kits do play into this as well. Kind of the same things that you can do with patterns and tutorials, you can do with kits, because people ask for patterns and tutorials and people ask for kits. It depends on the market. And also, when it comes to, creating a kit, you can do the same launch strategy. You could do, if you do a pattern with a kit, you can do a whole launch strategy around that pattern and the kit together, and then decide that you're selling the pattern by itself, but also the pattern with the kit. And it's kind of the same thing. It's just another version of the product besides just the pattern that you're launching with it. You want to create kits that people want to make. Kits also will be using SEO. Kits do really, really well on video. There is a specific crochet kit company that I think about. And kits don't fit as well with pattern testers, but usually you have patterns that go along with kits and it kind of works with the same thing. And you can actually do similar things with kits. It's just not pattern testers. It would be slightly different. What I will say though is that kits, the focus initially should be patterns and tutorials. That is what I want people to focus on, because when you have that as the foundation, then you can do pattern to kit. You can do pattern to membership. You can do pattern to kit to membership. Like you can build off of it, but you should have at least patterns and tutorials down. And for the how many patterns, I would at least, this is where I'm going to be actually doing some one-on-one calls with the people who are going to be a part of this program initially, because it does depend on your production time for a pattern. Some people will need a month to be able to develop a pattern and then make it so that they can sell it. And so a pattern a month would be awesome. And that would be like the ideal goal to get people to, is at least a pattern a month. If you have a faster turnaround of when you can design to then make a pattern, more patterns is obviously great. So I would say at least a pattern a month would be a great start. Because not only will it be a fresh pattern every month, but you're also going to be able to still sell the patterns that you have already created. So all of those past patterns, you can still be marketing and everything and still making money off of them, while also releasing at least up to one pattern a month. Um, Ideally, I would say like 2 patterns a month would be great. But obviously there are pattern testing times and designing times and all of that to keep into consideration. So it really does depend on the person and their process and how familiar they are as well. But I would like to get people to at least a pattern a month, because that would be fantastic. Ba, 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 ba. Barbara says, I would love to be involved with this because I have a pattern in mind that I need to get out of my head and into sales. Yes, love that. And here's the thing, this is also for people like, if you have ideas for patterns and want to start creating a pattern business, like this is definitely for you. But again, those first couple of months are going to be about designing patterns and getting them out of your head and into a digital form. Like that's going to be like the first step for most people. It's not something we're covering like in the main strategy. But again, I will be working with you to do that, because I need to also learn part of that process for whatever comes next with this business. But that sounds awesome, Barbara. And I'd love to know what pattern you have in mind as well. I think I would love to know. Um, Da, da, da. Kathy says, I can't wait to get started. I can't wait for you to be joining, Kathy. I'm really excited to be working with you for the digital patterns, since we were talking about that. Jolene says, I need to figure out a way to financially, oh my gosh, sorry. I need to figure out a way financially to do this. Yeah, I totally understand, Jolene. And I do want to say that there is a monthly option available. There is $97 a month. While that is still a good chunk of money, again, this is an investment on this business, because, you know, if you are selling patterns at like $10 a pattern, which isn't like unheard of in most spaces, it takes selling 10 of those to pay for it every single month. And I know for sure I can get people to sell more than 10 patterns a month. And that's again part of the thing that is frustrating sometimes with the business, and even what we were talking about earlier of like where to start. You don't know where to start because you haven't done it yet, and you don't know how to teach online, or you don't know how to teach it or make the pattern because you haven't done it yet. But to know how to do it, you have to have done it already. And it's kind of that thing where you have to play a little bit of chicken on yourself. Not chicken, but I mean, it's chicken before the egg. Like you need to kind of have something first to then be able to do the thing. Um, and like I totally understand if you can't do it. Because again, this is a investment. It is a good chunk of money, but again, it's investing in yourself and this future business. And all I can say is I know I would love to have you, Jolene, in this program, but I totally understand. Um, and also, like, you have your pattern booklet out. Like, we could be selling that like right now, Jolene. I like you have a complete and finished pattern. That could be sold already, which is a huge, like a fantastic place to start. Um, Kathy says, I was a pattern maker slash bra designer and left the industry from burnout. I'm not looking to design bras again, but I'm excited to start creating again. Yes. And here's the thing too, is like, it depends on the like how you're in this industry. Like people who are like working for a big company to design patterns and stuff like that, yeah, that's going to lead it to burnout because you don't have control over the designs. The awesome thing about it being your business is that you get to design your patterns. You get to decide what you want to make. You get to decide what's going to be cool. You get to decide, oh, this is where I'm really excited right now, so I'm going to follow that. Like that's the coolest thing about owning a business, and you get to do it even more with designing, and I think that's awesome. Um, and I love it too, especially because, like, when it comes to even, like, popular, handmade product designs and stuff, like, you have to, again, create all of the orders for every single one that you sell, um, and you have to go through that making process each time, which people love, which is awesome. But when you do a pattern, like you can just spend all of the time on the creating of the design and then like have everyone buy it, no extra work on your hand, and then you get to see everyone make it, which is even awesome. It's even cooler. I mean, it's awesome. I love it. Um, I'm so excited to be working with you, Kathy. I think there are so many opportunities as well. Um, Especially because like I'll tell you guys this up front, when it comes to patterns, it it doesn't work quite like handmade products in the sense where you need like a super narrowed down unique focus. There is a lot more flexibility of what you can design and sell because it's more about your craft than it is a very, very specific product. Now, of course, having more niche products and more of a focus is beneficial because that will make you stand out. But if you sew, the whole like world of sewing patterns is open for you. You could sew Portuguese patterns along with aprons, and that is reasonable. Again, though, it's nice to focus in on one because then you become known for it, but you have a lot more like opportunity to play around with ideas because people are looking for the patterns anyway. And it's worthwhile to make one for this thing over here when you're already making some for this thing over here, which I think is really interesting as well. Um, Don says my goal is one tutorial a month. Yeah, it's a good goal to be at because that means at least one new thing a month that you can have a big launch around. And then there's everything from everything else. And then you can sell everything else that you've designed and made before that, which is a great business model because, again, you focus in on the one thing you're doing that month, but you can still be making money off of the other things that you've previously done, which is just fantastic. Joji Yu says clothes patterns have become very expensive. $10 for the pattern is very cost effective. Yeah, and it really depends on your niche as well. Like crochet patterns tend to be about like 8 to 10 I've seen. Same thing with I think the knit patterns as well. Video tutorials, I still need to do a lot more research into them, but I think they tend to be around the same cost. But I have noticed that clothes specifically do have almost like a there's like something I want to say, but I don't know actually the term. They have like almost they do tend to be more expensive. And I think that's part of the reason, especially like when I was starting to sew when I was much younger. I was a kid. I didn't really have money to be spending on patterns, so I just made my own because all of the clothes patterns were so expensive. And especially ones that are done by independent designers tend to be a little bit more expensive. But for me, it is worth it to just get the pattern and have it be easy for you. And it's worth it to a lot of people. And you just have to make the patterns that are worth that to people. And that's again where kind of that wow pattern thing comes to mind of like, making patterns that people actually want to make. And create. Which a lot of mentality, like a lot of like mental game and like getting into like what people actually want. And I'll tell you guys this also is that like a pattern and tutorial business is a lot more marketing than what we even do here. And that's where I again said this is just the tip of the iceberg. Looking at like what I've written out for the 6-month program. because there's email marketing that we're not even going to be getting into. There's marketing and membership. There's ads. There is affiliate marketing. There is all of this stuff that you could be doing. And that's why, again, say that people who are serious at making this their business, like this is who this is for. People who are serious about making this into their full business, not just say, passive income on the side, but this is the thing that they want to do because there's a lot of serious marketing and like serious, like high level things that you'll be doing here. Like not as high level in the 6-month program, but it can get incredibly high level, which makes me so excited. Jolene says, "Oh hell, I'm worth it, and so is my business." Oh my gosh, Jolene, are you gonna join? Oh, that makes me so excited! Yay! Oh, Jolene, I'm so excited about this. Oh, I can't wait to work with you. Oh, that's so exciting. Thank you. Your business is worth it and you are worth it, especially if like this is the thing that you are wanting to do. This is what it takes. It takes making that investment. And like I appreciate you believing in the cause. Cuz like I think you, especially with your product and the stuff that you can do with the like wall art and like the more art pattern, like your more art patterns. Oh my gosh, Jolene, there's so much you could do. There's so much you could do. Oh, that makes me so excited. Oh, I'm so excited to have you. Um, Dawn says, I love seeing when people make my designs. Yeah. Like you get to see other people create something that came from your own head. You get to see other people create something that you put all this work and passion into. And it's just amazing. I mean, I feel it even being in this group when I give recommendations or advice and things like that, and I see people do it, it makes my heart so happy because like there's just something so nice about like giving information and teaching people information and seeing someone do something with it. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Um, but yeah, I actually have a team meeting to get to soon here, and I also need to eat some lunch. But this was kind of my whole thing on selling knowledge versus physical product. And I guess to like make it simple, there is a huge opportunity. Here, let me actually make my face big. There is a huge opportunity that is waiting for people who want to sell knowledge, who wants to sell their patterns, kits, tutorials, memberships, anything like that for people who are making handmade products. There is a huge opportunity there waiting. And the thing that gets people stuck the most is how to start. And I'm just really excited to be providing this resource of this pattern beta group for people to be able to join and get past those, you know, sticking points of how to get started and what to do, and even just the accountability of actually doing it because, your business is worth it. And if this is the direction that you want to go into, it's worth it. And I want to see you succeed there. And, that's why I'm starting this whole program. And I'm really, really excited about it. Thank you guys so much for just like letting me talk endlessly about this whole thing that I'm excited about because it helps me just kind of get my thoughts together. But it's also exciting to share this with people because even if you don't join, like, even if you want to do this and you don't join the pattern group, that's okay. I know this isn't going to be something that everyone can do, and that's completely okay. And I just hope that at least you can get something off of this call and what I've shown to you today that you can get started because, I want to see more people do this kind of business because again, it has so much potential of what you can do and how much it can scale and even how much you can make off of it without burning yourself out on the creating part of a handmade business. You get to focus on the fun things and focus on the marketing versus actually having to make every single thing, which is awesome. It's awesome.